Hello and welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of J Velez or on Instagram at jvelez622 where I share some doodles that I work on and a little comic book story that I'm currently working on as well, free of charge. I do this for fun and I just enjoy talking and sharing comic books. Like, follow, and subscribe if you like the channel. We're going to go over comic book stories that I have. I own a lot of comic books over the years. We're going to use digital, however, because it's easier to share on digital on your computer screen or phone. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope I've been entertaining you at least with some of these awesome stories from my youth. So today we are going to be looking at Thor 340 from 1983, written and drawn by the one and only Walter Simonson, one of my most favorite illustrators of all time, lettered by the absolutely great also John Workman, who is probably my favorite letterer as well. He is definitely in the top three of greatest letterers out there. So this is the cover of the on the new Simonson trade, and it looks pretty cool, but that is actually not what was originally released. The actual cover looked like this. Which is pretty cool, but they didn't have those computer colorings back then. So, but as you can see here, uh, I don't find anything wrong with this. I mean, I understand we want to make things contemporary nowadays and make things, you know, for all the new kids out there, but there's nothing wrong with showing how things looked like back then. But obviously, it has been recolored to with that modern computer coloring that is in here. So I thought I would at least share what the cover looked like. So we begin with Thor, Beta Ray Bill, and Sif kind of finally playing catch up to the last ship. That's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get to the final ship in this fleet. Here we have the credits, and like I said, art and story by Walter Simonson, and the lettering by John Workman. I believe this is the original colorist, but of course it has been re-rendered, so probably the actual colorist of the trade is unknown. So Walter Simonson just creates, like I said, he is influenced by Kirby, but I don't know. It's just beautiful. It's just amazing work that Walter Simonson does. I'm always in awe of his writings and his drawing. The guy's just a top-notch creator. Like I said, he's in my top three. He's just one of the greats here. So they finally reached the last ship, but they find that it's been destroyed. So they slay the demon that's on that ship, and then Sif is jumping out. She's going to, stay there and try to defend the rest of the ship while Thor and Bill fly to get the demons. So Thor says she's right, and off they go. The goats again. If you only know the goats from the movies, these goats are badass. That movie, I don't know. Uh, yeah. So that movie the goats were a joke. But I think the whole Thor movie, that fourth Thor movie, was a joke anyway. So, all right. So they're trying to get into the center where all these demons are coming through, and they find that it's not a star, but rather it's a portal. This is a very just how Simonson does these the kind of like the corona of the stars, or like when there's energy. Just I just love it. I love this thing here. He just makes the marks just a one continuous, kind of like a stream, but each one is really just a um one of the actual demons in there. It's just amazing how he is able to convey this. Like I said, if you're a fan of Jack Kirby, you do see a lot of Kirby in Walter Simonson's, but unlike Kirby, Simonson's work is not stiff. I find Kirby to be extremely stiff, whereas Simonson is loose, even though you see a little bit of the blockiness. The two are just not the same. I believe, this is just my opinion, Walter Simonson is even better than Jack Kirby. So I'll fight you on that if ever. So, all right. So the demons are kind of overrunning the our two heroes here. After seeing the portal with all those demons kind of flowing here, so they're just love it. Oh, Simonson is such a master storyteller, and John Workman's lettering is just great. He's just the two are perfect for each other. Um, John Workman just elevates a story. When you look at the this is hand lettered, by the way. So unlike now where everything is just uh, done digitally, he hand lettered these, and just certain words, if you can see that they're a little bit more to give it, they're a little bit more bold, so to give it like they're speaking harder, saying certain words. So you see here they're just, but here you see the back just like with a little bit more emphasis here. So we go back to the um oh, I don't want to ruin, I almost said his name. um So we're just gonna call him the Giant for at least this. So he's continuing to forge um, a weapon, and as he is forging, these creatures are starting to scurry on out deep within the earth. And of course, every time he hits it, the words doom show up. Walter Simonson is building something remarkable. His Thor run is just so good. This is one of the best runs ever, and there's a reason that Walter Simonson is at the top of my list, is because his storytelling is absolutely amazing. He's a fantastic writer and a fantastic artist. He is so blessed to be so talented. I absolutely love Simonson. So Sif is starting to be overrun by these demons, and she is, of course, gonna make a last stand. Again, a wave. Just how Simonson is able to convey this. He's so good. I know you're listening to this probably going, "Oh my God, he just praises Simonson," but how can you not praise such such a talented and gifted writer artist? So So she's, like I said, she's about to make her last stand when from behind a massive blast destroys the hordes that were about to take her. And it turns out that this is the ship that Beta Ray Bill came from, and his name is Scuttlebutt. So she, he's gonna help her. He's an AI that is going to um, try to lead the demons away from the fleet. So to give them more time and the demons take off. Just he's such a great drawer. Oh my goodness, I just love his entire run is so good. Even when he stops, so eventually in the future he does stop drawing Thor because he goes on to X Factor to work with his wife. He continues writing Thor, but it's taken over by Sal Buscema, who's more of the classic illustrated comic book artist out there. So it doesn't have, even though the writing is there, the art is a step down because short of putting Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee on it, anyone else other than Walter Simonson is a step down. Even someone like Sal Buscema, who is also, he's been in the game for a very, very long time. So, all right. So we're back to Asgard, where Volstagg is telling Agnar of Baldur's journey through that realm of Niflheim. So if you remember from the previous one, he's been sitting on this poor guy, talking to him about Balder and what's been going on. So he sees this creature here. It's called the Nidhogg, and it's consuming the dead. And he sees here all the warriors that Balder had sent there, and it really changed him. I mean, here he says here these were the fruits of his many victories, seeing all these people that he at one time had killed. So essentially, Balder is going through guilt. Is essentially what's been going on. So um, Volstagg then goes to tell him both that him, meaning Volstagg and Thor, are warriors, and if Agnar were to hurt Thor, or I'm sorry, hurt Balder, that they probably would understand and forgive him. But I love this part. Pompous old windbag here. So we get here to Hogan. Um, Not Hogan like Hulk Hogan, for example, but Hogan with a U. And Agnar turns and sees Hogan. He's standing there, and Volstagg tells him that Hogan, if he were to hurt Balder, he would never forget or forgive him. So I think that kind of gets into Agnar. Very Simonson, like I said, master storyteller. Look at this. Just the view. Look, I mean, look how he decides to render these panels. Just a view where we face them, then the opposite view where he faces him, and then a real close up of that face with the or forgive. Just his choices. I could brag on Walter Simonson forever. I could make a channel just. I could have just gone through every Walter Simonson ever, but you know, there's a lot of other good stuff out there. So, but Walter Simonson is definitely going to be so part of this because I can't just show you all these cool different comic books without including Simonson and McFarlane and Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and all these other talented people. But Walter Simonson is by far just one of my most favorites. So, all right, you guys are probably tired of me rambling on about Simonson. So, here we go. So, back in space at the portal, Thor kind of is gonna have a plan here, and he wants each of them to go to um, a side of the portal, and they're gonna throw their hammers together, and it collides with the portal. Um, I love the language that Simonson uses. Um, these comics, if you've been reading Thor now, through Jason Aaron's run and even before, you Thor and Odin and you gotta move things because you can't keep things the same. These are stories that are you can only do so much with certain characters. So right now in during these times, Odin is a bit of a jerk, but during this time he was a loving father. So here, um, there's an evolution that happens with comic characters. And you're gonna see, I'm every time I see Odin act how he acts now, I'm always confused. But we'll get to that part later, right here. So, aboard Scuttlebutt here. They're getting overrun, and Scuttlebutt says that he is going to put his self destruct and give Sif a chance to escape before he destroys, and she says no, that she's not going to let him die alone. So they begin the countdown, and suddenly, they're at one, and just like in the movies that everything ends at one, they start to disappear, and she tells him that Scuttlebutt not to destroy. So now that the demons are gone, and look, he just like a firework, just great storytelling. I never would have, like, how do you show someone disappearing? Well, like a firework. Amazing, amazing stuff. um so she's going to ask Scuttlebutt to tell him about Sif. Oh, I'm sorry. She Sif is going to ask Scuttlebutt to tell him about Bill. So now on Earth, Loki is meeting Lorelai, and it's a very dense story. So he could only, the Loki just shows up in this half a page really here, because he's trying to close up this his first run, his first arc. So he's trying to close it, so he can only pack so much. And Lorelai is basically asking, what is he getting out of all this, out of this game that the two are playing against Thor, and Loki just replies that it will amuse him. So Loki is, I mean, people don't realize probably that Loki is a villain. He's always been a villain. He's Thor's villain, and this recent trend, because of the show and whatever, trying to make him into a good guy, that just doesn't really work for me. But um, let your villains be villains and your heroes be heroes. Although, I mean, like I said, sometimes you do a face turn, sometimes you do a heel turn, but eventually everything kind of goes back. So we are now in Asgard, and a victory parade, kind of as the warriors are met with cheers, and Thor and Beta Ray Bill kind of getting cleaned up, and Beta Ray Bill just is kind of sad about having to leave, and he's just kind of that he can't change. He does look like the he does look the way he does, and he is he is sad to have to leave Asgard, even though he's kind of knows that he has to return to his people. So um, he's found companionship, and even the touch of a woman's hand. So they're developing. He's developing a relationship with Sif is what Simonson is kind of establishing here, and that his own people can't even look at him. So Odin has called Sif and he wants to discuss Bill, and so Sif kind of tells him his origin here, but it's kind of just done in a little bit of talking, a little bit of show, kind of here. Um, Sif tells Odin what Scuttlebutt had revealed to her, and that even though his story is true, it was not complete, and how he had won over thousands of others in a grueling test of power and endurance, which is, where we're at kind of here. And then he had to go through all these all these poor things, these psychological tests that left a lot of them dead and insane, and then surgical altercations, excruciating pain, and Bill was the only one who survived. And the change, is irreversible, with the people not even being able to look at him. So, um, it's a tragic story worthy of a Shakespearean plot. So, at the and I tell you, this kind of still keep going. I tell you, this story is very, very dense here. So we are here in a feast where Odin is going to honor these two because he actually has a plan. So he's going to honor them and give them a gift. And he asks them to raise their hammer, and he discharges some energy that hits them both. And he says, "I don't feel different." And um, I like this part here because kind of what's gonna be happening here. And he says, "I had an old enchantment that has outlived its original purpose, which was to teach Thor humility." That was the whole point of Donald Blake. So he's asked Bill to strike his hammer on the ground, and he now becomes who he was prior to the altercation. So this is what Bill would have looked like, and of course, Stormbreaker becomes that little Cain, and he's overwhelmed, and he says, "What of Donald Blake?" And to which Odin, you can kind of see that he's laughing, but covering his mouth, and just tells, praise the heroes. So the next day, Sif decides to accompany Bill. Like I said, this was the start of a relationship, and so they leave, and our heroes here are wrapping up. So we can't end one story without beginning another story. So near Cape Cod, this tanker is going through when a gigantic hand comes out and rips the tanker in two. When this dragon here, he roars to the heavens above to Odin, and that he's returned, and that he's gonna have vengeance on Thor. So there was a lot to compact this issue. I hope the first four parts of the saga of Beta Ray Bill are available to if you've missed this one, if this is your first one, just know that the first three parts are there. So this concludes the Ballad of Beta Ray Bill, written and drawn by Walter Simonson, from Thor's 337 through 340. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, follow, subscribe.